Have you ever felt it? That subtle, gnawing sense of fragility. You wake up, and for a moment, the world is still. But then it begins. A news alert on your phone. An urgent email. A thought about yesterday's mistake. And suddenly, the peace is gone, replaced by a low hum of anxiety that follows you throughout the day. You feel like you're walking on a tightrope, desperately trying to maintain your balance while the winds of circumstance, a critical comment, an unexpected bill, a traffic jam, threaten to send you toppling into a pit of frustration and despair. We live in a world that specializes in chipping away at our mental peace. It demands our attention, preys on our insecurities, and rewards reactivity. We are told to hustle harder, to want more, to feel everything intensely. And in the process, we have become mentally vulnerable. Our minds, which should be our greatest sanctuary, have become battlegrounds. We are at war with our own thoughts, our own emotions, and the relentless chaos of the outside world. But what if you could build a place inside yourself that the world could not touch? A fortress. Not one of bricks and mortar, but one built of perception, discipline, and will. A place of unshakable calm, of profound strength, where you are the sole sovereign. This isn't a fantasy. It is the central promise of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics, men like Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled the most powerful empire on earth, Seneca, the brilliant advisor and playwright who navigated the treacherous courts of Nero, and Epictetus, the slave who became one of history's most influential teachers, were not philosophers of the armchair. They were architects of the soul. They understood that life is, by its very nature, unpredictable and often harsh. Storms will come. The question is not how to avoid them, but how to build a shelter within that can withstand any tempest. This video is your blueprint. We are not here to offer you fleeting motivation or simple life hacks. We are here to embark on a project of profound construction. Together, we will explore 10 fundamental Stoic practices, the 10 essential pillars for building your own inner fortress. Each practice is a stone, a beam, a rampart. Laid one by one, with patience and intention, they will create an unconquerable mind. So, if you are tired of feeling fragile, of being thrown about by the whims of fortune and the moods of others, then stay. This is not just a video. It is a training ground. The work will not be easy, but the reward is the greatest freedom a human being can possess, the freedom of a mind that cannot be broken. Let us begin. The foundation, mastering the dichotomy of control. Before any great structure can be built, its foundation must be laid upon solid ground. For the Stoic inner fortress, that ground is a single, world-altering principle, the dichotomy of control. It is the bedrock upon which all other practices rest. Without it, your fortress is built on sand, destined to crumble at the first sign of a storm. The concept, as articulated by Epictetus, is brutally simple. Some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us. Within our control are our judgments, our impulses, our desires, our aversions, in short, our own actions and responses. Outside of our control is everything else, our bodies, our possessions, our reputation, the actions of others, the weather, the economy, the past, and the future. This sounds simple, almost too simple. Yet, think for a moment about the source of almost all your daily anxiety, frustration, and sadness. Where does it come from? It comes from a fundamental confusion of these two categories. It comes from trying to control what you cannot, while neglecting the one domain where you have absolute power, your own mind. Imagine you are the captain of a ship in the middle of a vast, unpredictable ocean. You cannot control the wind. You cannot calm the waves. You cannot predict the storm that lies over the horizon. To attempt to do so would be madness. It would be a source of constant, agonizing frustration. You would spend your days screaming at the sky, cursing the sea, and your ship would be left to drift aimlessly, at the mercy of the very forces you are trying to command. But the wise captain knows this. She accepts the nature of the sea. She pours all her energy, all her focus, not into changing the weather, but into mastering what is hers to control: the rudder, the sails, and the crew. She can choose to raise the sails or lower them. She can choose to turn the rudder to port or starboard. She can choose to navigate with courage and skill. The storm may rage, the waves may crash, but as long as she is in command of her response, she is in command of her journey. This is the Stoic mindset. Most of us live our lives as frustrated captains, trying to command the ocean. We get angry in traffic, forgetting that the actions of thousands of other drivers are not up to us. We become anxious about a presentation, fixating on how the audience will react, forgetting that their judgment is not up to us. We despair over a past mistake, forgetting that what is done is no longer up to us. The practice of the dichotomy of control is a daily act of mental sorting. With every situation you face, you must become a vigilant gatekeeper, asking a simple question: is this mine, or not mine? If it is not yours, if it is the opinion of a coworker, the mood of your partner, the state of the stock market, then your duty is to practice acceptance. This is not passive resignation. It is an active, courageous letting go. It is the release of a burden you were never meant to carry. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, an immense amount of energy is liberated. Energy that was once wasted on fruitless worry can now be reinvested into your own domain. If it is yours, your response to that coworker's opinion, your actions in the face of your partner's mood, your decision on how to invest, then your duty is to act with virtue. To respond with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Let's make this practical. Tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, take a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle. On the left side, write down everything you are worried about for the day ahead. A difficult conversation. A looming deadline. A health concern. Your child's school performance. On the right side, for each item, write down which aspects are not up to you, and which aspects are. Difficult conversation: the other person's reaction is not up to you. How you prepare, how clearly you speak, and how calmly you listen is up to you. Looming deadline: the deadline itself may not be up to you. How you prioritize your tasks and how focused you are during your work blocks is up to you. Health concern: the ultimate outcome of an illness is not fully up to you. Following your doctor's advice, eating well, and maintaining a calm mind is up to you. This simple exercise, practiced daily, is the laying of the first foundation stone. It is a radical act of liberation. You begin to see the world not as a source of endless threats, but as a series of events, many of which require no emotional investment from you at all. You are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are the master of your response. And from this solid ground, you can begin to build the walls. 2. The watchtower, the power of objective judgment, Fantasia cataleptique. With the foundation of your fortress firmly in place, it is time to build the watchtower. The watchtower serves a single, crucial purpose: to see things clearly, exactly as they are, before they are distorted by the fog of emotion and the stories we tell ourselves. In Stoicism, this is the discipline of assent, the practice of achieving what they called Fantasia cataleptique, an objective, accurate impression of reality. Most of our suffering does not come from events themselves, but from the judgments we attach to them. As Epictetus taught, it's not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things. An event happens, you get stuck in traffic. That is a neutral fact. The suffering begins when you add a layer of judgment: this is a disaster. My day is ruined. I'm going to be late, and everyone will think I'm irresponsible. The traffic did not create this pain, your judgment did. The mind is a relentless storyteller. It takes a simple, objective event and immediately weaves a narrative of meaning around it, usually a negative one. Your boss sends a one-word email, "Okay." Your mind doesn't just see the word, it hears a tone. It writes a story: "She's angry with me. The project was a failure. I'm in trouble." In a matter of seconds, a neutral piece of data has been transformed into a source of immense anxiety. The Stoic practice of objective judgment is the art of pausing in that critical moment between impression and reaction. It is the training of the mind to see the raw data before the story. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, gave himself a powerful exercise for this. He would practice stripping things bare of their grandiose names and descriptions, breaking them down into their component parts. That fine vintage of wine. It's just fermented grape juice. That beautiful purple robe of the emperor. It's just sheep's wool dyed with the blood of shellfish. This may sound cynical, but its purpose is profound. It's a technique to break the spell of our subjective impressions, to see the thing itself without the emotional glamour we project onto it. How can we apply this in our modern lives? We can practice a form of mental commentary, a conscious separation of fact from fiction. Imagine you make a mistake in a presentation at work. The untrained mind's story: I'm a complete idiot. I've humiliated myself. My career is over. Everyone thinks I'm incompetent. This is a cascade of catastrophic judgments. The Stoic's objective report: during the presentation, I stated an incorrect fact. Some people in the room noticed. I felt a sensation of heat in my face and my heart rate increased. Now, the presentation is over. Notice the difference. The first is a story about identity and future ruin. The second is a simple report of events and physical sensations. It is devoid of drama. It is a fact. From this place of objective clarity, you can then choose a rational course of action, correct the mistake, apologize if necessary, and learn from the experience. You cannot do that when you are drowning in the story of your own incompetence. Here is a practical exercise to build your watchtower. Choose one recurring event that typically causes you distress. It could be a critical comment from a family member, a feeling of being overwhelmed by your to-do list, or the anxiety of checking your bank account. The next time it happens, become a journalist of your own experience. Take out a notebook and, like Marcus, strip the event bare. Write down the objective facts only. What actually happened? Use neutral, unemotional language. My mother said, "You look tired today." Not, "My mother insulted me and thinks I'm letting myself go." Describe the physical sensations in your body. My stomach tightened. My shoulders tensed up. I felt a flush of heat. This grounds you in physical reality, pulling you out of the abstract world of mental stories. Identify the judgment or story you immediately attach to the event. My first thought was, "She thinks I'm a mess. I'm failing at life." Consciously challenge that story. Is it the only possible interpretation? Could "you look tired" simply be an observation, or even an expression of concern? Is it a 100% verified fact that you are failing at life because of this one comment? This practice is not about self-deception or toxic positivity. It's about intellectual honesty. It's about recognizing that our first impression is often a distorted, fear-based story, not an objective truth. By building this watchtower of objective judgment, you create a crucial space of calm within your fortress. From this vantage point, you can see the enemy, the external events, clearly for what they are, not monstrous invaders, but simply neutral occurrences. They only gain the power to harm you when you open the gates and let your own judgments rush in to meet them. Keep the gate closed, stay in the watchtower, and you will remain undisturbed. 3. The Armory, Premeditatio Malorum, Negative Visualization. Every fortress needs an armory, a place where weapons and defenses are stored, not for waging war, but for ensuring peace through preparedness. In the Stoic fortress of the mind, the armory is filled with a single, powerful tool. Premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, or what is more commonly known as negative visualization. This practice sounds, at first, like a recipe for misery. Why would anyone want to spend their time thinking about things going wrong? We are taught to think positive, to visualize success, to banish all negative thoughts. The Stoics, however, were masters of human psychology. They understood that the greatest source of emotional turmoil is not hardship itself, but the shock of unexpected hardship. It is the surprise that shatters our composure. Seneca, in his letters, advised his friend Lucilius to regularly set aside time to contemplate potential misfortunes, the loss of wealth, the betrayal of a friend, the onset of illness, the reality of death. What is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect, he wrote, and unexpectedness adds to the weight of a disaster. By rehearsing these scenarios in our minds, we rob them of their most potent weapon, the element of surprise. This is not pessimism, it is a profound form of psychological immunization. Just as a vaccine introduces a weakened form of a virus to the body so it can build immunity, negative visualization introduces a simulated form of misfortune to the mind so it can build resilience. The practice yields 3 transformative benefits. It reduces anxiety. It seems paradoxical, but confronting your fears in a controlled, intentional way actually makes them smaller. The monster in the closet is terrifying precisely because you refuse to look at it. Once you open the door and shine a light on it, you often find it's not a monster at all, just a shadow. By thinking through the worst-case scenario, you realize 2 things. First, it's often not as catastrophic as your vague, free-floating anxiety imagined it to be, and second, you have more resources to cope with it than you thought. It fosters preparedness. Negative visualization naturally leads to proactive planning. When you imagine your car breaking down on the way to an important meeting, you're more likely to check your tires and get your car serviced. When you contemplate losing your job, you're more motivated to update your resume, build your network, and save an emergency fund. You move from being a passive worrier to an active preparer. It cultivates gratitude. This is perhaps the most beautiful and unexpected outcome of the practice. When you spend a few moments in the morning contemplating the loss of something you hold dear, your health, your home, a loved one, and then you open your eyes and find it is still there, your appreciation for it multiplies tenfold. The routine becomes a blessing. The mundane becomes a miracle. You stop taking your life for granted. Let's turn this ancient wisdom into a concrete, guided exercise. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed for 10 minutes. Step 1, choose your focus. Select one thing in your life that you value, but perhaps take for granted. It could be your job, your ability to walk, your relationship with a friend, or even just the simple fact of having a warm bed to sleep in. Step 2, visualize its absence. Close your eyes. Now, vividly imagine that this thing is gone. Don't just think the thought, try to feel the reality of it. If it's your job, picture the moment you are told the news. Imagine the empty hours in your day, the financial uncertainty. If it's your ability to walk, imagine the frustration of being unable to move freely, the dependence on others for simple tasks. Allow yourself to experience the emotions that arise, the sadness, the fear, the loss. Step 3, contemplate your resilience. Now, while still in this imagined scenario, ask yourself, what would I do? How would I cope? Who would I turn to for support? Think about the inner resources you possess, your courage, your creativity, your patience. Realize that while it would be incredibly difficult, it would not be the end. You would adapt. You would endure. You would find a way forward. Step 4, return to the present with gratitude. Slowly, open your eyes. Take a deep breath. Look around you and reconnect with the present moment. Feel the immense gratitude for the fact that what you just imagined is not your reality. Your job is still there. Your legs still work. Your friend is just a phone call away. Let that feeling of profound appreciation wash over you. Practicing premeditatio malorum is like being a drill sergeant for your mind. It puts your spirit through its paces in times of peace so that it does not break in times of war. It is the equipping of your armory. With this tool at your disposal, you no longer need to live in fear of the unknown. You can face the future not with naive optimism, but with a calm, prepared, and deeply grateful strength. 4. The walls, the 4 virtues as your defense. The foundation is laid, the watchtower is built, and the armory is stocked. Now, we must erect the walls of our fortress. These are not passive structures, they are active defenses, the very substance of a Stoic character. These walls are the four cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. For the Stoics, virtue was the sole good. Wealth, health, and reputation were indifferents, they are preferable to have, but they have no bearing on your moral worth or your ultimate happiness. A good life, a happy life, was a life of virtue. Each of the four virtues acts as a specific type of wall, defending your inner citadel from a different kind of attack. 1. The wall of wisdom, Sophia. Wisdom, for the Stoics, is not about accumulating knowledge or being clever. It is the practical wisdom of knowing what is truly good, what is truly bad, and what is indifferent. It is the ability to navigate the complexities of life with clarity and sound judgment. Wisdom is the wall that protects you from the attacks of foolishness, confusion, and deception. The attack: you are bombarded with advertisements telling you that a new car or a luxury watch will make you happy. You are pressured by society to follow a certain career path, even if it feels wrong for you. You are consumed by a news cycle designed to provoke outrage and fear. The defense of wisdom: the wise mind cuts through the noise. It asks, is this truly important? Does this align with my values? Is this within my control? It understands that happiness comes from inner character, not external acquisitions. It can distinguish between a genuine threat and manufactured outrage. To cultivate wisdom, you practice the disciplines we've already discussed, mastering the dichotomy of control and applying objective judgment. You also engage in self-reflection through journaling, asking yourself each day, where did I act foolishly? Where could I have been wiser? 2. The wall of courage, Andrea. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the ability to act rightly despite fear. It is the strength to face pain, hardship, and danger without flinching from your duty. Courage is the wall that protects you from the attacks of cowardice, anxiety, and despair. The attack: you are afraid to have a difficult conversation with a loved one. You are terrified of leaving a comfortable but soul-crushing job. You are paralyzed by the fear of failure, so you never even start. The defense of courage: the courageous mind acknowledges the fear but does not obey it. It understands that the cost of inaction is often greater than the risk of action. It knows that true harm comes not from failing, but from failing to try. To cultivate courage, you practice voluntary hardship, intentionally exposing yourself to small discomforts to build your tolerance for difficulty. You also use premeditatio malorum to mentally rehearse facing your fears, which desensitizes you to them. A courageous act could be as small as speaking up in a meeting when your voice is shaking, or as large as standing up for what is right in the face of immense opposition. 3. The wall of justice, Dikaiosun. Justice, for the Stoics, is not just a matter of laws and courts. It is the virtue of treating others with fairness, kindness, and respect. It is about understanding our duty to our fellow human beings as part of a larger, interconnected community. Justice is the wall that protects you from the attacks of selfishness, cruelty, and greed. The attack: you are tempted to cut corners to get ahead at work, even if it harms a colleague. You find yourself gossiping about a friend. You see an injustice but remain silent because it is easier than getting involved. The defense of justice: the just mind remembers the Stoic concept of sympathia, the idea that we are all limbs of a single body, waves in a single ocean. Harming another is, in a sense, harming yourself. It acts with integrity, even when no one is watching. It speaks for those who cannot speak for themselves. To cultivate justice, you practice empathy. You try to see the world from another's perspective. You remind yourself, as Marcus Aurelius did, that people do wrong out of ignorance, not malice, and that your role is to guide and teach, not to condemn. 4. The wall of temperance, Sophrosyne. Temperance, or moderation, is the virtue of self-control. It is the ability to master your desires and appetites, rather than being a slave to them. It is about finding balance and avoiding the extremes of excess and deficiency. Temperance is the wall that protects you from the attacks of addiction, gluttony, and impulsiveness. The attack: you eat an entire pint of ice cream after a stressful day. You spend hours scrolling mindlessly on social media. You lose your temper over a minor inconvenience. You drink too much at a party and say things you regret. The defense of temperance: the temperate mind is the master of its impulses. It understands the difference between a healthy pleasure and a harmful indulgence. It can delay gratification in service of a long-term goal. It eats to live, not lives to eat. It uses technology as a tool, not as an escape. To cultivate temperance, you can set clear boundaries for yourself. For example, no phone for the first hour of the day. Only one dessert per week. When you feel a strong impulse, to lash out, to overindulge, practice the Stoic pause. Wait a few moments, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, is this action wise? Is it worthy of a rational being? These four virtues are not separate qualities, they are interwoven aspects of a single, excellent character. A courageous act must also be wise and just. A just act requires temperance. Together, they form the impenetrable walls of your inner fortress, a dynamic defense system that allows you to engage with the world virtuously and effectively, no matter what it throws at you. Conclusion: the lifelong construction. We have journeyed through the 10 great chambers of the Stoic inner fortress. We have laid the foundation of control, built the watchtower of judgment, and stocked the armory of preparedness. We have erected the 4 great walls of virtue and learned to master the flow of who and what we allow through our gates. We have trained in its courtyards, looked out from its highest parapets to see the cosmos, learned to speak its laws, and finally, to love its very existence with a more fatty. But a fortress is not built in a day. It is the work of a lifetime. The Stoic path is not a destination you arrive at, but a road you walk, day by day, choice by choice. There will be days when your walls seem to crumble, when your watchtower is clouded by the fog of emotion, when you forget the fundamental difference between what is yours and what is not. In those moments, do not despair. That is part of the process. The goal is not perfection, but progress. As Seneca reminds us, the journey itself is what strengthens us. Every time you catch yourself in a moment of reactivity and choose to pause, you are laying another stone. Every time you face a fear with courage, you are reinforcing a wall. Every time you treat another with justice, you are strengthening the character of the entire citadel. The world will not stop testing you. The storms will continue to rage. But you no longer have to be a ship tossed about on the waves. You now have the blueprint. You have the tools. You have the wisdom of the ages to guide your hand. Your mind is your own sacred ground. It is the one place in the universe where you can be truly free. Guard it. Cultivate it. Build upon it. Create within yourself a fortress so strong, so serene, so rooted in virtue, that when the world outside descends into chaos, you can retreat into its unbreachable peace and say, with quiet confidence, let the storm come. I am ready. The work begins now. Lay the first stone. If this journey has resonated with you, if you feel the call to begin this great work of construction, then let us know in the comments. What is the first stone you will lay today? Your story and your commitment are an inspiration to us all. And if you wish to continue walking this path with us, to receive more guidance on living a life of strength, purpose, and tranquility, then be sure to subscribe and join our community of modern Stoics. The road is long, but you do not have to walk it alone.